So Lem and I met at a Bible study at Chuck and Karen's house. Gosh, it's been a minute now, so it's been a little bit. We were having this Bible study. I got invited to go by Scott, asked me if I wanted to attend, and I thought this would be a great thing for my wife and I to do outside of going to church on Sunday. So we started attending this thing, and the first night I went, of course, Lem was there, and I saw this guy sitting there, and I was like, maybe I don't want to be going to this, you know. All really, and it was all because of the color of his skin, and I was just like, you know, this might not be for me, and but we went back the next week, and we were introduced the first time. This time he even came up to me and gave me a hug at the thing, and I was like, whoa. But I started seeing some thing, you know, that he was just a regular, everyday guy with ordinary problems, just like me, and we started kind of talking a little bit during dinner and hanging out a little bit. And that's pretty much how we met. And I'll let Lem tell you the next step.
Well, when we met the next time, it was we were starting this Genesis group, and we were meeting, have a meeting starting in the group. I had no idea whatsoever that Frank felt like he did. I didn't know that he hated black people. I had no clue. But we came up into the meeting, and he was. What happened was, I was at the end of my line. I was in I was in despair. And as a matter of fact, I had considered the week before, prior to that, I considered ending it all. I was done. I did not want to live anymore. I was tired of fighting with the struggle that I was struggling with, because I was in it alone and there was no one else ever. During the course of this group, Frank started sharing some of his struggles, and all of a sudden, you know, actually I was sitting the whole time because God had confronted him about some things, you know, that was going on in his life, and Frank just came alive and just started sharing how it really was, and about how God not liking him, you know, or God being able to help somebody else but not able to help him, and just other things. But what he shared that came out of his mouth was as though I recorded for him the words to say and gave them to him. And that was a change, and that was the change in my life. I went from hopelessness to hopefulness in 1 week. 1 week, I was getting ready to cancel it out, not live anymore. I was done. And the next week, there was hope, because finally there was somebody else who felt like I did. The pain was the same. The problem wasn't the same, but the pain was the same. And I'll let Frank tell you that from there.
Well, after that meeting, our first Genesis meeting, this was the very first meeting we ever had, and he, like a week later, I get this phone call from Lem, and he's telling me, hey man, you don't, I can't even begin to describe to you how much you've touched my life. And he explained that story to me about wanting to commit suicide and how he wanted to end it all, and had it not been for what I said, he didn't really feel like he could continue, and that he finally had this glimpse of hope that there was another person out there that was feeling the same way he was and was struggling with the same thoughts. And I was like, wow. I was like, Lord, what are you trying to do with this? You know, and I kind of knew when we were meeting at the Bible study that God spoke to me very clearly that he was going to use this guy to change this about me. And I knew before he even spoke to me that God intended to use him to change this anger and this hatred and this racism that I was carrying around, this mask that I was trying to portray. And but I didn't know how to go about getting this thing together. We went to a couple more meetings, and I spoke to my wife, and I said, and I spoke to Scott, I spoke to a couple other people, and I got some counsel, and I said, I really feel like I need to speak to this guy. I need to come clean about this. I've got to tell him what's going on with me. And it was when he was shared with me that day, I finally felt maybe safe enough to go talk to him. I said, after one of our meetings, I said, can we meet alone sometime and have some coffee or something, go get coffee? He was like, totally, let's do that. And so we set up a date, and I met him at the Gateway Transit Center, and we were like, where do we go? We ended up at Applebee's, and we're sitting there ordering appetizers at the bar, and we're around all these people, and we're talking. I said, Lem, I don't know how to say this. And I was really afraid of offending this guy, and I didn't know how to say what I was feeling and have it come out to where, this guy's not going to throw this food right in my face and be like, you're a piece of crap, and walk off. And I said, dude, I just got to say this. There's a reason I brought you here. I have an agenda. But here's the thing. My thinking's all messed up, and I can't see past the color of your skin, and I can't see you for who you are, and I don't know, I've never even had a black friend in my life, and I've always viewed people of color and well-to-do people and poor people. Really, I'm just an all-around general racist bigot idiot, you know what I mean? It really didn't matter what you were. If you were different than me, I had a problem with it. And I'm telling him this, and I said it, and I even may have dropped the N-word in the conversation, and he didn't get up and sock me, and he didn't get up and walk away and reject me, and he basically looked over at me and he said, I grew up in the South, and I've been around every type of racism you can possibly imagine. I grew up in the middle of Alabama, and he said, I've been subjected to every kind of hatred you can imagine, and I still don't hold a grudge or a hatred towards whites. And he said, he basically said, and I'm not going to hold a grudge towards you, and I love you. And from there, we decided, let's have a friendship. We didn't know what that looked like. We honestly hadn't had any real, true friendships anyhow. And so we started on this journey.
And boy, what a journey it's been. Well, and things, since that time, we are still involved in the group. Actually, we are now kind of like co-facilitating in the group. I come and hang out at Frank's house. but establishing a friendship and a relationship with someone else, it not only involves that person, but it involves the people that are around them. Um, it doesn't come with just Frank. It came with Frank's wife, with Frank's kids, with the stepkids. And it was like I got this whole other family now I have to be around. And so in a relationship, it's not just involved with just one person. It's just the whole idea of just how God does things, how He just changed everything. He turned my world around differently. I probably spend more time now in Gresham than I do in Portland sometimes, I think, but I come down, I just come to the house, It's just like the other day, I just came over and walked in, It was like, it's like this is where I live, And that's where God has us now. We are trying to have this friendship relationship because I've never had a real true friendship without involving something else. There's always been attachments to the friendship, and this time, so we're both trying to figure out how to do this relationship thing. How you do a friendship with and we're learning, and we're learning with God's help, and He's teaching us how to love each other, even though we're finding out things about each other that we don't particularly care about.